We're going to talk about taking a 3D object and creating a drawing where there is a missing view. 3.1 and 3.2 we're missing lines. Now we're talking about missing views. And if you look at 3.3, that's exactly what we got. We have the front view complete, we have the top view complete. We even have a little pictorial drawing here that shows you the object as if it was held in front of you in 3D. What we're missing is we're missing one of the views. We're missing the side view. And what I want to do is I want to talk to you about setting this drawing up and the rest of the drawings in this sequence that we're going to do that are just like this, where there's a missing view. Okay, so the easiest thing to do would be is if I could give you this block and you could pick it up and move around with it and look at it from different angles, because what we do with engineering drawings, right, is we hold the object 3 inches away from our eyeball and we look directly at it and we're looking for visible edges, and then we're looking for things that might not normally be seen because they're hidden behind faces, and then that's how we kind of figure out what we need for our view. So this is kind of a complicated little part. I can't give you the block though because we're not on campus. So how are we going to accomplish this? How are you going to be able to make this view? Well, you have a couple of options. Option one is maybe you can look at this and maybe your powers of visualization are strong enough where you can imagine what you would see if you were to look at this from the right side. Okay, and then also, not only what do I see from the right side, but what do I not see? What can I not see? See, there's a hole here, but you cannot see it from the right side, can you? And there's an edge back here, but you cannot see that edge from here because it's hidden. So if you're able to do that, then you've got a decent chance of being able to create this drawing view. Now, if that's tricky for you right now, what I can do is I can set up some electronic files, some CAD files basically, of these objects that will open up, and then you can manipulate them in 3D to kind of get an idea of what you ought to be drawing. Okay, so we're going to set that up for you. But let's talk about setting up this drawing. The secret to having a successful multi-view drawing is you gotta know ahead of time what you're trying to draw. If you have no idea what's supposed to happen over here, what we're looking for, we're going to have trouble. Okay? You can't just project every corner and every edge from the front view to the side and then put a 45 line and project every corner and every edge from the top view. You know what you'll get over here if you do that? You'll get some crazy looking checkerboard, and it will not be the view that we're looking for. So instead of that, we're going to think about what we need. Okay, and when you've got what you need firmly in mind, making the drawings much easier. The first thing we have to do is, if we looked at the corner here, the right side, what do I see when I take away things like distortion and perspective? What are the shapes I see? What I see is one rectangle sitting on top of another rectangle. This rectangular face is here. This big rectangular face is up there. Okay, so I can see those two things. These are solid edges. These are edges I can touch and feel. I know they're there. Now, there's something else here that I can see, and it's the hole. All right, so once we know where to put the hole, we can say we need a hole drilled in the corner up there. All right, so now what is some of the stuff we don't see? What do we not see from the right side? Well, we don't see the big hole over here, do we? We don't. And what we probably remember is the edges of the hole will create a tunnel in the views where you want to show the hole, but it's not circular. So there's a tunnel going through here that we can't see, right? And then of course this is a cylinder, so it should get a center line. Is there anything else we wouldn't see if we were standing here looking in this direction at that right side? Well, how about the corner back here? This corner. How about this corner back here? See, these corners would create lines if they were visible. They're not. They're kind of tucked back there. Right? So that corner will get projected into the next view. That's going to create a hidden line in this view. So what I want you to see is that these 3D objects, if you can look at a 3D object from a sketch or pick one up and kind of figure that out like this, well, that's great, because now you know what you're aiming for, and once you know what you're aiming for, the drawing's not that difficult to do. Okay, so I know what I'm going for on this drawing, pretty confident. So I'm going to go, and I've already taped down my paper. I use the horizontal line on the border as a guide for my parallel bar. Now my parallel bar is the horizon. All the horizontal lines in the drawing match it. I'm going to prepare the paper by sprinkling a little bit of magic dust on it, a little bit of drafting powder, and then I'm going to play hacky sack. No hacky sack, please. Okay, and then I'm going to go about setting this up to create my missing view based on what I know I'm looking for. All right, so let's get our goodies and let's do this. I'm going to start by projecting over from the front view of the three corners. Corner 1, corner 2, and corner 3. Because I need these three horizontal edges to make this line, and this line. Now I also want to get the depth over here, and we've discussed how every time we measure, taking a measurement and then transferring the measurement might not be the best way to do it, because there's always the chance when we measure we're going to blow it. So to avoid having that problem, set up a line at the far right edge of your front view, and then find this point, right? Find the intersection of the top of the front view and the right side of the front view, and from that point shoot a 45-degree line. This is our miter line. That's the line we're going to use to bend the corner to take sizes from the top view into the right side view. So with that miter line in place, I'm going to go in. I'm going to project that corner over to the miter line. I'm going to project this corner over to the miter line. And then I'm going to come down. Okay. Can you see the little rectangle here with the edge in the middle? If you can, that's great. And that's what we wanted, isn't it? That's what we were looking for. So I like what I've got. I'm going to go in and just darken up parts that I intend on keeping. I'll be as precise as possible as I add that line work. When you lay out everything lightly, it's easy to know where to start and stop while you're pressing down hard with your pencil to make lines nice and dark. Okay, and these are small rectangular face here. Boom. Larger rectangular face right on top of it. Boom. Okay. Anything else I need here? Well, there's a hole, isn't there? There's a small hole we're working with in the top left corner of that face. We're going to create the hole by projection. We're going to project some lines. So I've already got the tunnel for the hole in this view. So I will line up with the center line and project that over. Okay, I projected the center line of the tunnel over here. I'm going to go to this view now. Now this is the same tunnel, isn't it? Except from the top. I'm going to project the center line of that tunnel over. And when it hits the miter line, I'm going to bring it down. Okay, and now what I have here is I have a little cross. And the reason we make that is because we need to know where to put the hole. There are a couple of different ways of making the hole. You could use the tunnel as a guide, and you could use your compass. Right? If the point of the compass is here at the center point, and the lead of the compass is the same size as the extremity of the hole with the hidden line, well then you know you've set it to the right size, the correct radius. Of course, making holes that small with a compass is a real drag. So what we're going to do instead, for a small hole, it might be good to take a look at our template. Okay, so you have a circle template that came with your drawing tools. Circle templates all have a couple of things in common. For example, they all have numbers stamped next to each circle to tell you the size of the circle. What I want to do is I want to go over to my drawing here, and I want to see how big this hole is. So I can use the center line or the hidden lines that are there to kind of get an idea of what size we're talking about. And let's see, 7/16, too small. 15/32, kind of a weird size. That looks really good, but you know your pencil is going to be inside of it, so that'll actually be too small also. The size we're looking for, it's actually a 1/2 inch diameter circle. Okay, and I know that looks a little bit larger, but think about it. Your pencil lead rides inside of there, right? So that'll make the right size. So that's a 1/2 inch diameter circle. Now on this template, you'll see a mark and a line and a line. If you have a template like that, you use those 3 marks to make sure you're lined up straight and center. Here's what I mean. The mark at the top of the circle should line up with this projected line. And then the mark here and here should line up with the projected line from the front. And what you're doing is you're just trying to make sure that your circle is centered where it's supposed to go. So if your template looks like this with marks, that's how that'll work. Now, your template might have small holes punched in it. Small holes. You see here, this circle, how it's got a hole, and a hole. Right? So all of these circles, at least the larger ones, have a hole, and another hole. Same idea though, right? Find the right size, 1/2 inch. Line up the projected center line with that hole. And then line up the other projected center line with this one and this one. And when they are all lined up, you know that your circle is perfectly centered where it's supposed to be, as well as being the right size. And then we don't have to worry about the compass jumping out while we're trying to draw a tiny little circle with it, right? So there we go. There is our front, or here's our right side view with the lower and upper rectangles and that small circle in the back corner. Is there anything else that we need to add to this view? Well, yes, we know some of those elements that we were talking about are hidden, right? I can't see the tunnel from this hole looking at the front edge here. It's hidden. And I can't see the edge back here looking there. It's hidden. So, again, having an idea of what I want will be helpful. Let's play the projection game. Okay, and that'll solve these for us. We take a look at the hole it is even with the center line of that smaller hole here. So this line has already been projected over and down for the side of the hole. I'm going to go over here to the top and do the same thing. Project over. Project down. And now what I've shown here is the tunnel created by that hole. Okay, and of course the tunnel is going to be a hidden line. So I'll go in there and draw that with the hidden line. Small dash, tiny space, small dash, tiny space, small dash. Same thing here. Small dash, tiny space, small dash, tiny space, small dash. Right, and we'll have 3 or 4 small dashes in there. Okay, that is the tunnel for that hole. Was there anything else we had to project? In fact, there was. In the back corner here, right? This corner and this corner have to be projected into the next view. So we'll start here, we'll go over till we hit the 45 line. Once we hit the 45 line, go down. Okay, and that tells me the location of my hidden line. And then we've got to think about, here's the very top of the part. The edge goes all the way down to the bottom of the part, right? Top to bottom. So that means my hidden line also goes from the very top to the very bottom. All right, anything else that needs to be projected? I have visible edges, I have hidden edges. How about the center mark of that circle? The center mark of that hole, was it shot down like a bow and an arrow into this view? See, it was, wasn't it? Do you see a center line over here going through the axis of that tunnel? We don't. So what we can do is we can go from here over and down and project that also. Over to the miter line. And down. And now I know where that has to be. There's my center line. Okay, if you're in doubt on how big these lines need to be, well look, I'm creating small dashes here to match these small dashes here. I'm creating this center line here to match that center line there. It's the same hole, it's the same everything, right? I'm going to do a little bit of quick erasing. Okay, so with some of that extra line work erased off the part, it's easier to see what we've got, what we still need. Here is a circle. Circles require center marks. So I'll make a center mark there. And a center mark there. You need to take a look now at the figure and clean up any extra lines, any double lines, any hard, heavy lines from projection. The rule is if the lines are so light that you cannot see them when you stand an arm's length away, well, you can leave those lines. But if they are still visible from an arm's length away, they are too dark. They will have to be erased. If you used the light blue pencil with a nice sharp point to project your lines, you don't have to erase those. Those will stand out quite softly on the paper, and your line work will stand out very heavy compared to them. Okay, but you're going to want to go through and erase. Now, the shield is to protect the good stuff while you're erasing the bad stuff, right? Like right here, I have a line that needs to be cleaned up. I will protect the good line and expose the bad line, and then erase through the shield so that I only erase the part I want to get rid of. Okay, in doing so, you can make perfectly square, clean corners, and that's what we're shooting for. Not asking for a lot here, just perfection, okay? The drawing, when it is all erased and cleaned up, is going to be complete. You figured out your missing view, you made the line work that was necessary, you added center lines and center marks where you had to, and hidden lines to indicate hidden features. The last part of the assignment is down in the border title block area. Either with your light blue pencil sharpened to a very sharp point, or maybe with one of those 4H wood pencils. If you don't have either of those, then your 0.5 mechanical pencil with a very soft touch. Very soft touch. Draw two very light guidelines above and below the lettering for drawn by. Right, and those two light guidelines will be what you use for your lettering when it's time to put your name on this. You'll save yourself the loss of some points if you could check out a couple of things before you say the drawing is completely finished. Number one, is everything erased that should not be there? Right? If lines are too dark, projection lines are too dark, they need to go away. Are all the elements that are supposed to be there included? And then is everything sufficiently dark enough? Are all the object lines dark and dense all the way through? So if your line goes from dark to light to dark to light, or light to dark, or has skips, then that's not very good. You need to fix that up. If the corners don't match precisely, you need to get in there with the shield and make them perfect. Because this is not a sketch. It does matter that things are drawn with accuracy. Right? Are the hidden lines drawn correctly? Well, look at the hidden lines over here to see how they should be drawn. Is your center line drawn correctly? Make sure it looks like this center line going through the tunnel, not like a center mark. You put the mark, the two crossing center lines, on a circle, not through the tunnel. Okay, so use what I've given you as a guide as you're looking to see how the assignment is and how close you are to having it finished. That is our completed drawing for assignment 3.3.